exactly how it's properly done. Light, camera, action.
We're going to keep it going as we do the book review of Country Wayne, which is entitled Help is on the Way, Stay Up and Live Your Truth. We actually going to be reviewing chapter 2, which is called Country Town. And he talks about in this chapter mainly about his parents, about his mother and father and how they actually got together, and also about their addictions. And in this chapter, he talks about when you own your truth of where you come from, it will remind you of who you are, and it will help guide you to where you are going. He also talks about where you come from gives you a starting place in the world. He compares it to like a compass setting, like a GPS. Also, he talks about the best part of living your truth is you do not have to depend on being someone else that you aren't. You don't have to fake it, because when you living in your truth, it's no faking involved. He also talks about that we arrive in this world with inherited blessings and curses. You have to choose to accept the good and do something to escape the bad. Basically, you have to accept the good with the bad, and also, to make the bad better, you have to work at it. And he also talks about his first 10 years of his life, his last name was actually Coney instead of
Carly.
because his mother's last name was Coney. And at the age of 10, he changed his name to
Carly.
which is his father's last name. And he also talks about both sides of his family having that natural sense of humor. He will also say that when at family get-togethers, they was just so funny. He actually said that he could actually charge to have people come to the family get-togethers because they were just so funny. And he also talks about if they didn't have cable TV, he don't know where his comedy career would be. I mean, being from a small town, it was a lifeline to the world because he names a lot of shows that was out in the early 90s and late 80s, like Pretty Woman, Purple Rain, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Martin, and A Different World. And he also talks about even Coming to America, that he knew that movie from front to back. And basically, the cable TV and the VCR was his lifeline to the world. Because of that small town where he come from out of Georgia, it was basically nothing going on. And he had to have that lifeline of the world through cable TV and, VCRs. And Country People also talks about, for the most part, country people are loving and warm-hearted for the most part. And it's just because that small town feel, everybody know everybody. So it's that familiarity of, everybody knowing everybody and just having that warm feeling. And that's what he talks about. Now, you remember what I said earlier about in this chapter is where he starts to begin to talk about his parents. And basically what he says about his father is his father was big time, a big man in a small town, a big fish in a small pond. He was the big time hustler of his town. And he also talked about when his father went through a low spot, he would hide from his kids because similar to Country Wayne, his father do have a certain amount of kids. And Country Wayne also talks about when he told his dad that he seen him one time. I guess his father, tried to duck in, duck out, whatever the case may be. You know how the story goes. When you're trying to do something sneaky, somebody gonna find out. And basically that's what happened. He told his father, I seen you. And his father was like, where you see me at? That type of behavior. And he also talks about no one really helping his mother. I mean, not the fathers of her children, not really anyone in her family, and not the men that she was with at the time. And also Country Wayne talks about she never complained or never blamed anyone. She just took personal accountability and did what she had to do to make things happen for her and her children. And he also talks about how drinking in the country is like a pastime. Like baseball is American pastime, drinking in the country is a pastime. Probably because the prices are a little bit lower in rural areas or southern areas than in the big city. So alcohol is pretty accessible. and is a means of passing the time. And people will make any kind of excuse to drink where he was from. Like if it's your birthday, they're gonna drink. If you got a new job, you're gonna drink. I mean, shoot, if you got fired from your job, they're gonna drink. And basically, he was saying they will make up anything to have an excuse to drink. And he also talks about the addiction curse his father and mother had. He said they given in and gotten high for the first initial time when they was around 22 years old. So that addiction to getting high and everything like that started with them early. And he just talks about that. But in closing, this is a great chapter. And also mainly, he kind of opened up about his parents in this chapter. In conclusion of this chapter, this was a pretty good chapter. He talked about his parents and living in a small town and the recreational activities that a small town really do when there's nothing else to do, mainly drinking. But this was a great chapter. Like, share, subscribe. We out.